Good morning.
Good
Yes.
morning, sir.
Thank you for the reply. Yeah, we'll start with like before that. In the previous classes, we all learned about what the management is, what are the functions of the management are, what is the planning, what is about the types of the planning, okay, and then organizations, organizational structures, how we can prepare organizational structure, maybe based on the departmentalization, we go with the organizational structure, and the different types of organizational structures used in the construction, like uh, military type of organization, functional type of organization, matrix or grid type of an organization, or product based or project based organization. Among them, generally, in the present construction industry, we will be dealing with a grid type or a matrix type of an organization where we will have both horizontal and vertical control of the communication. Rather than calling it as a control, it is about communication. More the better is the communication, better is the performance from the industry. So that's why most of the good like leading construction companies, they use this matrix based organizational structure. Again, in a matrix based organizational structure, to be frank, we have again weak matrix based and intermediate matrix based and a strong matrix based organizational structure. But for the present module and for the present subject, let us not discuss about the further classification. We just try to understand now only military type of product type of project based and the this matrix organization structure. Okay, but again, these can be further divided. Okay, so let us not worry about that now. Only these four you need to understand, and at the same time, I also request you to go through organizational structures of different construction companies. Okay, like if you can understand that, you will come to know what are the performances of a construction management construction manager. As far as construction manager is considered, what is he going to do? Where is he being involved? That you may understand if you go, if you get into, if you get a chance to look at organizational structure. Of course, you will get these organizational structures to Google. Okay, you just you need to search and you need to hit the right organizational structure. Or else, if it happens to visit somewhere in any company, you can visit, and there I think in every notice board of a company they will put the organizational structure, who are being held like who have the authority, who are being held responsible for what projects. So that's all being mentioned in the organizational structure. So we need to henceforth, if you visit any industry, any construction company, always try to look at what type of organizational structure they have and how control is being done, whether it is a centralized control or decentralized control, that we may have to understand. Okay, and none of these types are like, all the types have their own advantages and disadvantages. Okay, it is left to the project manager or a head of the organization which type of this has to be used based on how our employees are. Okay, like an example I gave you about these management styles or leadership styles. What are the leadership styles or the management styles we can approach is like democratic, autocratic, and then free reign style. So these three, like none of them are. I cannot say this is good and that is bad. It all depends on circumstance. It all depends on whom we are handling. Okay. So based on that, we have to suitably use those types of management styles so that ultimately everyone is working for the betterment of the organization. So that is where we should give importance. Okay. So by what style you work, that is immaterial. It's only it's only we are bothered about what output we get at the end of the day. Okay, that is one sort of a thing. But at the same time, we should always keep it in mind that we should not let our employees leave the organization. Being the construction manager, or this is for any organization. Okay, we should never leave our employees. We should always support them. Okay, it's only because of them where where the company is going to stand in the market. Okay, so that also we should keep it in mind. At the same time, the relation between a construction manager and his subordinate should also be good. Okay, then only everyone that is what we call it as a working environment. Okay, working environment depends on there are many factors. Among them, amongst them is this management style also. Okay, so we should make sure that everyone is working happily. At the same time, we should not leave our like goal of the organization also. It's not like ಎಲ್ಲರೂ happy ಇರ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. You cannot leave that also. The ultimate aim is reaching our objectives. Okay, only thing is we should have a better working environment so that everyone works cordially in the organization. Okay, that is one thing. So next we shift to construction now. We all talked of the general thing about the management. Now we will shift our basics to this construction now. So that is we call it as just a minute. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ವೆಬ್ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇತ್ತು. Okay, we'll now shift to the construction field. So we'll think of now what is construction planning is about and what is scheduling is about. See, scheduling can be pronounced, I generally call it as a scheduling. It can be, some people pronounce it as scheduling also. Okay, any of the thing is fine. No, nothing to worry. So construction planning and scheduling, that we will discuss from today. Okay, so we just recall what the project management is. Basically, project management uses the resources. Okay, uses the resources to get the that is the role of that is what the manager does. Okay, he uses resources as an input, and he generally tries to give you the project, and that is the goal of the project. Okay, so where he is being involved with resources, he is having some time and budget constraint. Okay. Meanwhile, what he has to do is he has to plan for it. We have a target. For the target, we have to plan for it, we have to execute it, and we have to make the follow-up so that we reach the project plan. Okay, this is what the project management is. What do we use? We use resources, we consume time, and we, of course, money is a matter also. Okay, so here the foremost important thing is plan. The basic step in the management is plan. Okay, why I showed you this picture is, again, I wanted to tell you about what the planning is about. Planning is the first management function. Okay, so based on our planning, the rest, everything goes smoothly. Better is the planning, better is our lower is the risk. Okay, better is the working procedure, and we ultimately it becomes convenient to reach the project plan. So planning phase is very, very important in the construction management. So planning, it's a starting point, and it further leads to, so this is planning is a starting point of management, and this further leads to the other different functions of the management. So what are the other different functions of management are? After planning, you have organizing, okay, staffing, controlling. What else? Planning, organizing, staffing, controlling. There were 5 main important functions of the management. If someone can fill in the blanks here. Planning, organizing, staffing, controlling. What else we missed? Yes? What else we missed? Directing.
And controlling.
Yeah, well, I think we missed directing. It's planning, organizing, directing, controlling, staffing. Staffing is also there. The staffing we missed. As per Kuhn's model, what we have is the functions of the management are planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and then controlling. So these are the five important management functions. So among them, planning is the first one, and that leads to the further management functions. So basically, in the construction management, we generally represent our planning in terms of as a graphic scheduling. We call it as scheduling. That is actually a planning in construction. In construction, scheduling is called as a planning because what is the meaning of scheduling is like how we are going to progress on day-to-day basis. Make a list of all the dates, okay, from the starting to the end, and what will be our progress as far as days are considered. That is called as scheduling. Okay, so if we prepare our scheduling properly, then that becomes our plan. And day-to-day basis, we have to cross-check our executed work with our plan. Okay, so that is an importance of planning these. We need to plan it in such a way that we need to think of planning is about thinking about future, or it's about bridging the gap between the present day and the future. Okay, so we need to think of what are the uncertainties what we may come across while executing it, and we should think of the different approaches if we could come across do. That is called as a graphic schedule, and that technically we call it as a program. uh, that we technically call it as a program, and that becomes a basis for our effective planning. If we have that program, further we use the program to make our planning very effective. Okay, and what does this program should include? The program should include the sufficient details to enable proper consideration to be given to timing, the type of materials what we use, the duration, the quantity of the materials, the equipment what we may have to use, the delivery data what we may have to submit it to our clients, okay, and then the manpower requirements. So all these things should include the program. Okay, before if like an example, if government, if we are going for a competition for a bidding of any project, I am being a company manager. If I go for bidding for a project which is being undertaken by the central government, say construction of a dam or something, then what I have to submit to the government while bidding process is I need to show him what all I have, what materials I have, what equipment I have, what manpower I have. I should submit those things. I should show my resources to the government office so that later government office may give the contract to us. Contracting is not only a paperwork, please remember. They are going to check our background whether we are capable of handling that project or not. Okay, background in the sense they have to check obviously our manpower and the machine power. Do we have sufficient manpower so that we can come across, like we can execute the project? Do we have sufficient equipment so that we can complete the project within a time? Okay. Do we have again a labor or something, a man again? I can call it as a manpower who are going to handle the equipment. Okay. Everyone knows driving a vehicle, whether it is a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, and it is hard to get the one who is going to operate the excavators. Does among your 54 people are there now? Does anyone know how to operate this excavator? Even I don't know how to operate the excavator. Do you know how to operate the excavator? Right?
No, sir.
So definitely not. That's a lack of manpower. So we should have the manpower. It's not about just having the machine. We should also have a manpower so that we can handle the project. Like this, there are so many equipment are being used. Do you know how to use the jackhammer, the drilling machine? Do you know how? Just like if I want to excavate, like if I want to dig the concrete which is wrongly placed, if I want to take it out, I may have to break it. We can also call it as a breaker, the concrete breaker. Do you know anyone how to use this concrete breaker? So I certainly say, no, like most of the people will not know it. Okay, that is about a skilled labor. That's about a skilled labor. So we should make sure that we have the sufficient skilled laborers, we have the sufficient number of equipment to the government so that the contract will be given to us. Or otherwise, we are just out of the market. We will be sent out. Okay, it is not about just only quoting the price. ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಕಡಿಮೆ ರೊಕ್ಕದಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಡೆಯಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. I should show them what all I have so that I am going to execute the work. Okay, so that is there. That is the skill of the planning. There comes again planning. Okay, we need to make sure that who are all required for our project. We need to make a list of it. What equipments are required? That is again planning. Okay, how many equipments? It's not just deciding what equipment. How many excavators I require? That is deciding number of machines. How many number of machines? And so many number of again operators of those machines. That is all in planning. That is all in planning. So we should know these things very deep, in detail. Okay. Now, what are the characteristics of this good program? Are program is nothing but the basic planning. What we may have to do it for a project. Okay. So what it must include? It must be suitable for use as a control against which progress can be measured. As I told you, once I make this program, I'm going to compare my everyday work to this program so that I will come to know where I'm standing. That becomes a control tool. ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿವಸಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಬರ್ದಿರ್ತೇನೆ, ನಂದು ಅಚೀವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ then so that is a control. So I have not achieved this, then it gives me like I may have to think of adopting a few more resources so that this work is being progressed, so that will reach the track again. That is a control tool. Okay, that becomes a basis for the control tool. And at the same time, it must be sufficiently accurate to enable its use for forecasting requirements of materials, manpower, machinery, and money. That's what I was talking about. We need to forecast about what materials, manpower, machinery are required during the construction. Okay, further the construction. That is planning. See, planning is done in the office. That is the basic definition here actually. Planning is generally done in the office, but at the same time, planning has to be done by the one who operates on the field. ಆಫೀಸ್ದಾಗ ನಾವೇನೋ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. We should always enhance our knowledge as far as the field knowledge is considered. Okay, so we need to take care that what materials we may have to deal further after 1 month or 2 months, something like that. So let us take an example as far as this material is considered. Okay, let us imagine we are having a construction of a residential building, some residential or some important structure where the owner wishes to use a marble. Okay, do you know basically from where we get the marble from in India? Like if I say pink marble, I want to use a pink marble for the construction. Do you have any idea from where I may get it?
From Rajasthan, sir.
Right? Good. Okay. So most of the marbles are being procured from the Rajasthan. Okay. Say I am constructing it now. I want to use this marble for flooring. Okay. I have constructed the foundation. I have constructed columns. I have done my slab work. Everything is there. Now I have come to the flooring work. Now ನಾನು ಆ ಫ್ಲೋರಿಂಗ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಇನ್ನು ನಂದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ತಿಂಗಳಿಗಿಂತ ಮೊದಲೇ ಫ್ಲೋರಿಂಗ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಅದ ಅಂತ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಹೆಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನಾನು? ಹೌ ಶುಡ್ ಐ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಇಟ್? I should order it in such a way that the marble comes to my project site the day I require. ಹೌದಾ? ಅಥವಾ ಇವಾಗ ಫ್ಲೋರಿಂಗ್ ಬಂತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಇವಾಗ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಕೊಟ್ವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ತಿಂಗಳ project will it doesn't continue. I have to halt my project work for 1 month because I want to wait for a flooring day. Isn't it? Are you getting the point? Yes? Okay. So we should make sure that the materials come to project site on time. If they don't come on time, it again increases my project duration. Okay. More is the project duration, I may have to pay back penalty to the government. Please remember this. Isn't it? So I need to understand that in a planning, I need to quote it. Okay. From this day to the next month of the same date, I may have to start my flooring work. For that I require marbles. Okay, and marbles I need to procure it from Rajasthan. The number of period required for the procurement is 21 days. Approximately I'm telling you, it may be 15 days or it may be 21 days. Okay, so I need to think of for how many days the marble is going to reach from after the day I give order. For how many days it is going to reach the project site, I should think. That is what planning is in construction management. It may seem very silly, but that is true. That is management is. If I skip this single step of ordering the marble in time, okay, now remember, if it takes 15 days to reach Hubli from Rajasthan, then my project will exceed 15 days more than the project duration. Please remember this. Okay, so we need to forecast these requirements as far as material, manpower, machinery, and money is considered. Okay, we need to forecast these things. And the third characteristic is it must provide for difficulties likely to be encountered in future. That is about risk. Okay, or the uncertainties or the risks what we may come across. As far as quality, scope, and processes are considered, we have to, in a planning, it should give us some warning so that these are your uncertainties and you may have to make some remedial measurements for such things. Okay, so these are the some good like characteristics of the good program are. What is about planning again? See, planning is actually can be classified as a policy planning and planning in technical issues. Policy planning is something about making policies, rules, regulations, programs in sitting in the office. Okay, such a type of planning they are being done generally in the corporate office as far as construction industries are considered. Generally, we find corporate offices in Mumbai, in Bangalore, in Chennai, or in Delhi. Most of the corporate offices. Rest offices are going to be project offices or the site offices where planning in technical issues is being done. And as far as the syllabus is considered, I am going to talk about planning in technical issues. Okay, planning. This is always about a perspective. Some people think that planning is executive work. Sit in the office and do the planning. But that is not true always. That is not always true. We should plan it in such a way that we should thinking that we need to plan it in such a way that like we need to imagine ourselves doing the work. Okay, like generally we think now I give an example, and another example is like this whole the interaction, the online interaction between me and yourself. I am planning the class. Okay, while planning, I assume that everyone is having the internet data with you. I assume that everyone is having a smartphone. Okay, my assumption could be wrong. Though, like another thing is everyone might be having the smartphone, or it may so happen that there might be a network issue what I have not assumed in my planning. That's a typical example how the failure may occur even in the simple day-to-day life without planning. Okay, so that's why we reduced our class time to 45 minutes. Initially, we were thinking of having classes for 1 hour. Okay, we actually did a meeting for 3 hours. Then we calculated the data required. Then we reduced our class hours to 45 minutes as far as online is considered. That to only 3 classes per day. Okay, it is not simply now ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಒಂದು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದ ಅದನ್ನ ಮೊದಲು ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇವೆ. That is planning. This is just a simple planning in the office. Inna issues irbodu, but I don't know about those issues. If I want to be a good planner, I should know those things. If I want to know those things, then I should experience it. So more is the experience, better the planner you become later. Okay, so always remember, planning is generally done by the experienced people because they are exposed to the site, they are exposed to the environment, they are exposed to the people, the different varieties of all these things, the different combinations of all these things. So they know what the uncertainties are. In that case, they plan in a better way. So planning phase, it's always an important phase. Just to call it as a different definition here, planning is the process of devising of a workable scheme of operations that, when put into action, will accomplish an established objective. The most time consuming, this point needs to be remembered, planning is the most time consuming and the difficult aspect of the job management. Okay, it is very important and it requires an intimate knowledge of construction methods. So if you want to be a construction planner, you should know what the methods are being which are being adopted on the site, combined with ability to visualize discrete work. Discrete is individual. You should visualize individual work elements. Okay, we need to be good at imagination. If we want to be a better planner, we need to be good at imagination of the work, and then how dependent they are, or how dependent they are, or the mutual interdependency. What is the interdependency between the activities? That also we should understand. Okay, so that is the planning phases. Next, like project planning, to do the work with good planning, you must answer these questions. These are just the guidelines. Okay, I thought these are important if you want to become a good planner. So you should answer these questions. What are the activities that you want to do in a project? And when will these activities to be executed? Who will execute these activities? What are the equipment and tools required to execute these activities? And what are the activities that cannot be executed? So if you could answer these questions, then you become a good planner for the project. And project planning, this certainly requires some goals, like it's being done so that we can reduce the risks of the project to the lowest possible level. Okay, to achieve the performance specifications for the project by establishing an organization for the implementation of business, and to develop procedures to control the project and achieve the best results in the shortest possible time. These are the goals of the project planning. So we need to plan it in such a way that we are reducing the risks, we are developing the procedures to control the project. Okay, we are going to achieve our specifications, and at the end we should achieve the results in a given shortest possible time. Then who is going to make the planning for a construction? Planning is generally done by the project manager. Who is project manager? He is the in charge of the project. He is the head. Project manager is going to be head of the project, and he is going to plan for a project by sitting with the planning team. Okay, there's always a team called a department called planning department. So the planning department and the planning project manager will sit together and they plan for the whole project. And remember one thing, while discussing planning, I told you, whenever you are planning for the project, you should always involve the operating managers. So please remember here, while planning, it's not just about project manager and the planning team. We should also involve some site engineers who are operating managers. Okay, they know better about on-site conditions than these people who generally sit in the office. Project manager and planning team, they generally sit in the office. Okay, site engineers are the one who work in the site. So we should involve those people so that our planning becomes an efficient. Where should we start our plan? Where do we start the plan? Okay, before that we need to understand few important terms here. That is, first one is, I'm just calling these as basic definitions. Okay, a task, we'll try to understand what the task is. A task is a small job done by one person. Next, an activity is a part of the project that is composed of set of tasks and performed by different individuals. Then concurrent activities are the activities developed in planning to be implemented in parallel. Concurrent activities like the activities which are done in parallel. Next, series activities are those activities which are done one after the other. They are called as series activities. So, to be clear, the difference between an activity and a task is that activity is a set of many tasks. Okay, so activity and task, they are different. Task is generally done by one person, whereas activity consists of many tasks. So we need to start from we need to start our planning from the break. For that, we need to understand what the work breakdown structure is. This is we also call it as WBS. Henceforth, we call this as WBS. That is work breakdown structure. In planning, we divide our project into achievable works. I'll just define what is work breakdown structure is. WBS is a deliverable focused hierarchical grouping of the project. It defines the total work scope of the project. Deliverables are tangible, which are measurable parts of the project, and non-deliverables are not included in work breakdown structure. Non-deliverables are not included in work breakdown structure. Okay, so work breakdown structure is about making the hierarchical activities which are supposed to be, which are being represented in an organizational structure way or in a hierarchical way, or maybe called as a tree diagram. Okay, to understand the better of the activities and club together all the activities, that becomes the aim of the project. I have given you some examples for work breakdown structure. For that, we'll go into that part. So before we start with the planning, we should create the work breakdown structure, which it is a process of subdividing the project into deliverables and project work into smaller, more manageable components. Okay, I'll show you this. The key benefit of this process is that it provides a structured vision of what has to be delivered. If I make a diagrammatical representation of all the activities in an hierarchical way, so it gives me a clear idea what needs to be done at what time. Okay, and there are so many tools what we can use in work breakdown structure. One of the tool is like I can use a scheduling software called Primavera or MS Project. Those are the tools in the management. We can use them. A work breakdown structure is a hierarchical decomposition of the total scope of the project, total scope of work to be carried out by the project team to accomplish the project objectives and create the required deliverables. The WBS organizes and defines the total scope of the project. It represents the work specified in the current approved project scope statement. I'll show you in the sketch. Yes. So this is about how work breakdown structure looks like. I have a project, I have a total project. I divide the project into sub-projects, okay? And I divide sub-projects into task level. Further, these task levels are being divided into work package levels. These work package levels are being divided into activity levels. Further, these activity levels are being taken out as a operational level. If I take an example of, let us say an example of construction of a highway project, I think, construction of a highway project, then what all I come across is construction of the highways. Somewhere in between, across the rivers, I may have to construct the bridges. I may have to construct the abutments there. If I am going through hills, I may have to construct the tunnels. They are all parts of the highway project. Okay, so I may have to subdivide. This is construction of a road or a highway. This is my project from this kilometer to this kilometer. Subdivide this into different projects. Okay, certainly just on the level road, that's a highway. If you are going for the tunneling, that is a sub project. If you are constructing a bridge, that is again a sub project. So make the sub projects out of this project. And out of these sub-projects, you can further divide into such a level that becomes, so you can show showing that in a hierarchical way. Structure. So what are these are? Sub-project level, it's an independent, deliverable and product requiring processing of multitask having large volume of work. That is a sub-project. Say construction of a tunnel, construction of a bridge, they are the sub-project level. Task level, it's an indefinable and deliverable major work containing one or more work packages. So within the construction of the bridge, first comes survey. Okay, then comes constructing a pier or a caisson, that is a foundation under the water. Okay, that is generally we call it as a substructure. Then comes a pier, then comes a superstructure. So again, divide your construction of bridge work into so many work packages there. Okay, so so you can divide the sub project into tasks. They are the tasks. Further, the tasks can be divided into work packages. It's a sizable, identifiable. Okay, I think I pronounced it wrongly here. It's identifiable, measurable, costable, and controllable work, which is a part of a task. Work packages are part of the task. Construction of the pier is a work package. Activity level. It's further, if we divide the work package, that becomes an activity level. Okay, it's an identifiable lower level job, operation, or a process which consumes time and possibly resources. That is activity. Say concreting for column. Say keeping the steel or the reinforcement for concrete before concreting. That is an activity. Okay, so like these things, they are all activities. These are the levels. Project title is level 0, sub-project level is level 1, task level is level 2, work package level is level 3, activity level is 4. Like this we have up to level 6. Okay, but if we plan it for level 6, then again that becomes, the planning becomes very rigid. So generally we don't go for plan level 6 planning. We may have to plan it only up to activity level as far as construction industry is considered. So next is decomposition. Decomposition is a technique of dividing my total project into your sub-project level, task level, work package and activity level. It's a process of dividing the whole project into these levels. That is called as decomposition. Okay. Work package, it's the work defined at the lowest level of the WBS for which cost and duration can be estimated and managed. Decomposition, okay, it involves, decomposition of the total project into work packages. They generally involve identifying and analyzing these deliverables and related work. You may have to structure and organize the WBS. You need to decompose the upper WBS levels into lower level detailed components, and then you need to develop and assign codes to WBS components. I have shown you the sketches there later. And you have to verify that degree of decomposition of the deliverables is appropriate. So this is one typical example. The example is for housing project. It is 2000 housing units project, sub-project and task level work breakdown structure. So housing project is my project. I am dividing the project into sub-projects here. Can you please see this? This is a sub-project. Okay. So total housing project is a project. Then I am dividing it as a residential buildings, I am dividing it as educational buildings, public buildings, and external services. These are my sub-project levels. Okay. Further, these sub-project levels can be divided into task levels. If I take an example of a residential building, my task levels are like 334 number of houses shall be built here. Okay. Among this, again, there will be residential buildings foundation work. There will be residential building superstructures, and then residential building finishing work. These are supposed to be done under this. For educational buildings as a sub-project, if I get into task level, then my task level is high schools 4 numbers, primary school 6 numbers, KG 4 numbers, and nursery 2 numbers. Okay, this is your educational buildings task level. Similarly, if I go into public buildings, they are being divided into task levels as public stations, party offices, health offices, social centers, like this. There are so many, which comes under task level for public buildings. And for external services, it's like water supply, uh, sewage system, roads, okay, gas supply systems, etc. These are the task levels under external services. Further, these tasks are being divided into work packages. So I'm just taking this residential building as my task level, sorry, sub project level. Then the tasks are foundations, precast superstructures, and finishings. And these tasks can be divided into work packages. For foundation work, my work packages are base construction, raft construction, plinth wall construction, and then ground floor construction. Okay. Similarly, so before that, in the chat box, please mention your USN for the attendance. Okay. Then precast superstructures, first floor, second floor, third floor, and parapet and GRC. Okay. Similarly, finishes has different work packages. Further, these work packages are being divided. So these are my work packages, as I told you in the previous slide. These work packages are being divided into activities. Okay. Now I'll just give an example of a raft construction for as an activity. I will be the activities for this work package are layout, that is lining out, keep the shuttering, then fix the reinforcement. After reinforcement, go for concreting, and then cure the concrete. These are the activities for the raft construction. Similarly, for the other things here. Okay. So this is how the project can be divided into sub projects, then into tasks, then into work packages, and then into activities. Okay. This is another typical work breakdown structure for piping project. So I have a project here. Then piping work, concreting work, electric work, and another main activities of this project. They are being divided into level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and identifying these works in a hierarchical way. This is a work breakdown structure. Okay. Further in the next slides, I think we'll discuss in the next class. Any difficulties, please do discuss the same thing in the class. Any difficulties?
No, sir.
See, henceforth, I don't allow anyone who uses email ID other than the KL ID. It always disturbs the class. So please use your KL email ID.